Welcome back to Almost Functional, guys. We're here with the Gray Knight Index, which just got released today. I got one of my good friends from Florida, Dave Ozawa. Uh, been playing Gray Knights forever. One of the best Gray Knight players in the world, I believe. What's up, Dave?
Hi, everybody.
Hey.
How you doing? I'm Dave Ozawa. When I started with Eldar, loved Eldar. Didn't like how toughness three worked in the game, and started playing a couple of different armies. I was trying Marines. I was trying some other armies, and then I asked myself, what I really like about the game. And I really like the psychic phase and interactions with psychic powers. And then I liked Grey Knights. I started playing Grey Knights, and I liked that how they could do anything. They could do close combat well. They had guns and they shot well, and then they had the maneuverability with their Gave Infinity and different things that they could do with that, and they had good combat. Like all their units had combat, so like pretty much anything I needed them to do, they could do at the expense of costing some more points. But very flexible army, and I've been playing them pretty much ever since. I've
Yes, you.
won best Grey Knights before, and I usually place high at all events. I usually go to. I usually place pretty high.
Yep. And you and I have been battling for years.
And Matt and I have been like duking it out, whether it's Grey Knights versus Space Wolves or Grey Knights versus his bow ties. Matt and I've had a lot of games together.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's roll over here into these Gray Knight rules. So the start off with the army rule is teleport assault, which most of us will be playing Strike Force. So it gives the option of up to 3 units. You can was it? You can pick them up in the once you make your selection, move them from your battlefield and reinforcement
Yeah,
steps of your next movement phase. So when do you pick them up? Does it say at the end of your opponent's turn?
yeah.
All
At the
right,
end of your opponent's
there it
turn,
is.
so it's kind of like it's kind of like a real good, um, really good in a game. If you can reposition units quickly, it's always been good in pretty much any edition. And as long as they're not in engagement range, but basically as long as they're not in combat, you can move around, especially late game. Late game, when you run low on models, units are running low, being able to reposition and grab objectives away from people and kind of like make those key strikes at the end, because usually you start off the game with your whole army, but then at the end, some things might happen and you have very few units left. So being able to reposition those assets and put them where you need to be is really good. And being able to do that with 3 units is really, really good. You can kind of like always maximize the units as you have on the board at all times, as long as you're able to keep repositioning them. You can get like where you want them to be when you need them to be there. And being able to do that with 3 units, like I remember the last edition with Game Infinity and Teleport Shrine, being able to do that with 2 units was really good. And when I was able to do that with 3 units, turn two and turn three, when I would Teleport Shrine, Game Infinity, and Deep Strike Unit from Reserve, it would be like a very strong strike on one side of the board, and it would change games often. So very good ability.
And now if you take tactical objective, they're drawing what you're getting, so nice. Then
Can't hear you very well, Matt. Can you hear me?
yeah, there we go. You hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
just
I think you were saying something about the objectives. Yep.
yeah,
With the secondaries being able to move them around
yeah. You
in
could
attacks to the secondary.
yeah, say if you're doing tactical, gives you ability to jump around for the drawn ones, and then it also gives you the for if you take the fixed, like behind enemy lines and engage on all fronts, I believe, are two of the fixed ones you can take. Like you could be doing that with those units and getting having the same unit score both every turn.
Yep. Being able to do that and pick up those secondaries, always a good thing.
Absolutely.
being able to move around and like being able to move around is, like I said, key to the game. And it's like Sarni seems like it's kind of moved into maneuverability from what the leaks and what the previews have shown. So
Yeah, and I think that's going to be really big in this edition.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Looks like teleport shunt is an army ability for strike force detachment rolls. That's really good as well. If you advance, you auto advance 6, and you gain the fly characteristic. So if we have units that can advance in charge, it's going to be really, really big.
Yeah.
And then having the ability to just auto roll in advance of a 6 when you need it is also big. Like you need to go on an objective in game. It's just a good ability to have it. I know it doesn't sound super impressive sometimes, but just knowing that you don't have to roll that dice, you can just auto get that 6 is always like, it's always a good option for you to have in your back pocket when you want to move around the board some more.
Oh yeah, especially there's a lot of times you're trying to get that last objective, that last secondary. You're on like, all right, I need a 5. Oh, and I'm gonna spend the reroll. The game's on this advance, and you just auto have the 6. It's nice. And other than the vehicles, pretty much everything has deep strike, right? So all your infantry just gets to do this.
Yeah, so most things in the last edition had deep strike. In addition, before that, some of the units didn't have deep strike. So they've moved. They've given it and taken. So I'm curious to see what if they're so liberal with it. Where like the last edition, almost everything could deep strike. The previous edition, a lot of things couldn't at deep strike, like purifiers. And the 2 editions ago, purifiers couldn't deep strike, but I believe they showed that they can now. So we'll see. We'll see if everything they kept with the deep strike and everybody can do deep strike now, just like in the last edition, except for non psychic units and vehicles. Those couldn't deep strike.
All right, cool. And then
All
now they're
right.
giving us some stratagems. Should be 6 here. Pretty much everybody gets 6 in their
Yeah.
detachment. So the first one you get is Radiant Strike. It's 2 CP, which is expensive, but it's 1 Grey Knight Psyker unit from your army.
Yeah.
Until the end of the phase, melee weapons equipped by that unit have the Psychic ability and Devastating Wounds. So you can just be handing out mortals
Yeah.
on critical
So
hit wounds.
handing on mortals is always a good thing. 2 command points is pretty heavy, like you said. I know they released the Grey Knight. They previewed the Grey Knight Grandmaster, and he could turn stratagems into 1 command points. This is probably where he'd want to spend that for 1 command point in combat when you want to take down a big unit. But 2 command points is pretty steep. And if you got like a big 10-man squad, then you might want to do it. But there's always like a cost benefit. Like there's a like do I do this? Like do I cost like spend these 2 command points? Or do I save them? And in the past editions, Grey Knights have always been a heavy command point army, so 2 command points is kind of steep.
But if you're a little frugal in the first
And
turn
then,
or two, turn 3, if you push something in, you should hopefully have enough command points to really do this without hurting yourself.
oh
But
yeah,
but that limits on what you can do first
yeah,
turn if you're trying to
saving
first turn if you're trying to
always.
save up.
Yeah, a lot of people tend to like try to blow through command points. I've been good myself in a couple turns. Really like end game. Like in the end of the game, if one person has command points and the other person doesn't, it's such a big advantage. So if you can kind of pace yourself
Yeah.
and be able to make these big strikes in the end, where like a lot of things, it's usually a really good thing on your side.
Well, especially in this edition, if everything is less lethal and more survivable, like they're trying to aim for, then you both are going to have more stuff at the end of the game. Like a lot of times in the last edition, it was
Oh
decided
yeah,
by turn 3. So really having those command points at the end of the game weren't as important. I think that'll come up a lot more now.
oh yeah. With survivability being such a big factor now, with higher toughness and lower AP weapons,
Yep.
they're going to be like anything that can do devastating wounds and command point. Like it's just going to be essential to have those command points to do those abilities.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Then the next one they give us is
Let's see.
prognosticated arrival, which happens in your movement phase. One Grey
Yeah,
Knight
let's
Psyker
see.
unit from your army arriving from deep strike or teleport can set up anywhere on the battlefield that's more than 3 inches. So this is your 3 inch deep strike, but you can't charge. I believe you had something that
Oh
did this
wow.
in the last book, right?
So they yeah. So not previous edition they had this, and that's really good.
Yes.
You'll have to watch out a little bit now because people are going to combat armies are probably going to try to um, heroic intervention you now, since you can do it on any unit, I believe, right?
Well, heroic intervention is only can only be
You can
done
do it on
on a unit that charged. So there's no more of the shenanigans like I charge on one side of the board and
on
you
a unit
heroic
that
on the
charge.
other. You can only heroic into a unit that charged now. They changed that.
Yeah.
So you
Oh,
drop in,
okay.
they
Well,
can't
never
heroic
mind
this
then.
unit because it didn't
Then
charge.
that is really good though. This ability for one command point, yeah. I mean, I'll probably be doing that 2 to 3 times in the game. Maybe even before game, like turn 2, 3, 4, and 5. Like anytime, people have to really be careful about their spacing against Grey Knights, and with this ability, you have to even be more careful. And you're able to like, if you're able to like shoot those holes out in enemy units, and you deep strike within 3, you can steal objectives. You can get in range to shoot all your shots. Now with characters being only 12-inch out protection, you have to be outside 12, and you can't shoot them. If you can deep strike if you're able to like, people are gonna have to protect the characters even more because if you could bring in units to snipe a little character that's like hanging out on the side
Yeah. Well, most of the
thing, and
most of the
and if you're able,
characters are going to be in units now. So you will have to snipe out their unit first, unless you have precision.
I'm talking, yeah. Well, I'm talking about like the little independent operative characters. Like some of them are like they
Oh
don't
yeah,
join units,
yeah, like assassin. Yeah, there are a few out there that are lone operative.
like stuff like I know some of the characters you can't join. So like if you're able to just bring those in and like
Oh yeah.
let me think, even like Logan Grimnar on the sled, which I know we never see. So just stuff that's like characters that you can just deep strike in, and any character's like by himself, and you can get up right in there and shoot him. But
Well,
this is just a S. If we're going, D C B A S ranking, this is like a S level
yeah.
strategy.
Well,
This is a top notch strategy.
and you can give
You can do so much with it.
you can give for purgation squads incinerators, right?
Yeah, purgation squads can take incinerators. I've already been with the previews that they did. I'm probably going to run at least one purgation squad. Most likely, I'll run 2 to 3 with 4 incinerators because it doesn't say it has to be a psychic weapon, so it's all their weapons. Shoot without line of sight. So if I hit and they ignore cover. So if I can deep strike in and shoot somebody behind a wall, it'll do a lot of damage.
Well, and
Even if I don't have that line of sight, if I can deep strike in close,
yeah.
shoot them,
When I was just thinking with this strat, you drop in with a
and
3,
then
flame somebody, and then in their movement phase, when they start trying to move away from you or move something else closer, you overwatch them with the flamers.
run them again.
You would get to double shoot them before they can shoot you or do
Yep,
anything about it.
yep,
Yeah,
yep. That was what I was getting to next.
yep.
Being able to get that close with flamers, you could drop in between 2 units and possibly take them all out, like both units, before they have a time to react, because they're not going to be able to have to shoot you or charge you after you drop in and you shoot, and then you do your combat phase, and then they're going to go. They don't have most armies don't have an ability to put out damage in their movement phase, so those units that are around with the flamers and hit like if you drop between 2 units, you can hit the one, possibly wipe it. They move another unit that's within the 9 inches or 12 inches. If you dump strike that close, you can drop in and potentially wipe out 2 units very easily with the stratagem, which is really good.
Yeah, you hit them hard. If you have 2 of these units, At the end of your opponent's turn, you rapid ingress one over there close, and then drop the other down within 3, and then you move the other one up, and now you're both right in their face, flaming, overwatching. Like, yeah, that there's some gross stuff with that. All right, and then the next
Yeah,
one,
3-inch deep strike
yep,
is really good.
yep. Excuse me. The next one they give us is Death from the Warp, which is in your movement phase. One Grey Knight Psyker unit from your army that either advanced this turn or arrived
Definitely war.
using Deep Strike or Teleport Assault. Till the end of the phase, ranged weapons equipped by models in that unit have the Assault ability, and each time they attack, you add 1 to the hit roll. So basically, you give Assault and
Okay.
+1 to hit to one of your
I mean,
units. What?
it's it's a solid ability. Like I don't know how much I would use it. Maybe with the advance and shooting the advance ability, I can advance. I can advance an auto 6 and still shoot with
Yep.
the turning my heavy weapons into assault. That's pretty good.
Yep.
Um,
Well, not only do you give your heavy
to me,
weapons
I'm kind of
Assault,
like feeling like
you
I
give
can
them
play
+1 to
without
hit.
that.
Yep. But even without the Assault, +1 to hit is
Yeah, the
nice.
+1 to hit is really good.
Yep.
+1 to hit is good.
Well, sometimes you just
Uh,
don't quite have that movement to get an angle on something, so now you can
on
advance.
command point, it's a nice ability to have.
Yep. Yeah, if you would, yeah,
Hmm.
auto advancing 6 inches with fly and giving him assault and +1, there's times when that's going to come in big. I think. So far, I'm really liking all their
Yeah, that
stratagems.
can. I'm really liking all three as well.
You
The
want, you
big
want,
one to me does that devastating wounds, putting out those mortals and the prognostic arrival, and then depending on how the armies, depending on how the units look, is whether how much I'll use that one command point there
yep.
for the death from the war.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the next one they give
How
us
many command points do we start out now
0.
with?
You start with 0 and just
We
gain
start
one.
off with zero
You gain one
in the game.
every command phase. Yeah, because they're
Yeah,
trying to make
that's
the
one.
game last
See, that's
longer,
why.
so there's really trying to eliminate the Alpha
Yeah.
Strike stratagem stuff. So then they're giving us Haloed and
See, that's
Soulfire.
why I probably. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Let's see.
yeah,
So the end of your.
yeah, it's 2
So the end
CP.
of his start.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's in your movement phase. One Grey Knight Psyker unit from your army that is arriving via Deep Strike or Teleport Assault. Until the start of your next movement phase, your start cannot be targeted. Your unit cannot be targeted by ranged weapons unless they're within 12 inches of you. So
That's a really good ability.
yeah, that's really nice.
Able not to be targeted is always really good.
Yep.
That's another really good.
Yep. And that
When you're in
Teleport
game, you got some
Assault
character,
that
some unit that you're trying to hide.
and Teleport Assault, that's the name of the rule for where you pick the guys up and bring them back, right? So you can drop that on the. You'll basically have
Right.
access to that the whole game.
The whole game.
Yep, so that's
It's
nice.
kind of heavy with 2 CP.
Yep.
And honestly, in all the times I played Grey Knights, we're kind of a mid-range army. We've never been like a long-range army.
Yep.
So the only thing I feel like is we're going to be in that close middle range at 15 inches. So the 12 inches might be like that's just the way the army plays usually.
Yep.
So the 12 inches, other armies are most likely probably going to be good to get in that easily if we're still in that kind of mid-range like striking potential that we have. For 2 command points, it's still a solid ability though.
Well, especially you drop your big Terminator brick in with characters in it and pop that on them. Nobody wants to move close enough to shoot them
Oh yeah,
because you're just going to walk over and
nobody will want them.
you just walk
Nobody
over and
will
delete
want to
them.
turn up for this thing.
No.
Yeah.
The next they give us a mist
So
of
far, all these abilities are.
yeah. The next one is Mist
Okay.
of Demios, which is your opponent's movement phase just after an enemy unit ends a normal advance or fallback move. One Grey Knight Psyker unit from your army within 9 of that enemy unit. You can make a normal move up to 6 inches if a movement phase, or if it has the Deep Strike ability, you can place it into Strategic Reserve. Oh wow! So an enemy unit
That's
ends a move within 9 of you. You can either move 6 inches closer, further away, toward an objective, whatever you want to do, or like, oh crap, they're about to charge me and kill me this turn, or shoot me and kill me. I'm just going back in reserve and I'll come back later.
that is for 1 command point.
Yeah.
That is an amazing ability. That is that's being able to say, hey, I'm fighting that close combat army. You got to make 10-inch charges unless you're playing it really well and you can get multiple charges in range
Yep.
where you my units, but
Oh yeah.
being able to just move those units, having that maneuverability to move them out of the combat range or behind the wall, that's amazing. That's a really good. That's a really really good ability. And anytime
Absolutely.
somebody's going to go for the 10-inch charge against you, the 9-inch short charge against you, you can just pull them back out of range. So now they're going to have to try to go for 10-inch charges.
Right. Even if they put
That
themselves
is
one
for a
inch
9-inch
away.
charge. That's a really good
Yeah.
ability.
Even if they put themselves just 1 inch away for an auto charge, you move 6. Now they got a 6-inch charge. That's only slightly above 50%. Like that's still failable.
Yeah, that is for one command point. That's a solid ability right there. That is
Oh yeah.
that more and more like all these things are keep playing into maneuverability, which is kind of fun because that's how kind of Grey Knights are. They kind of
Well, and
they
that's
strike in and then they
and
hit,
that's how
they
you
move
play.
around, they do their
You're
mission, and
always
they get
very,
out.
yeah. You've always been play the
Yeah,
angles, play the moving around. Like I think this is gonna fall into your play style perfect. I think you're gonna
oh
really
yeah,
enjoy this. Then the last one they give us is True
yeah.
Silver Armor. In your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase, just after enemy unit select its targets. Uh, oh, this is basically Armor Contempt. This is your version of Armor Contempt. You just give something -1 AP when it shoots you.
That's just a solid ability for one command point.
Yeah.
A lot of APs down right now, like and being able to do that, I think turning a 3+ save back into a 2+ save,
Oh yeah.
that that doubles your that doubles the amount that you save.
Oh, absolutely.
Having a 3+ save is 33% chance to fail, and then if you go down to 2+, it goes to it doubles your
Yep.
effectively your saving power.
Yeah.
So
Basically, it's 1 in 6 at that point.
that's also really good.
Yeah. I don't see any
What
bad
I'm seeing is Grey
stratagems.
Knights are still going to be a command point heavy army.
Yep. All right. Then we get your enhancements, which are these are the replacements for warlord traits and relics.
Yeah,
The first one they give us is First to the Fray, a Grey Knight model with the deep strike ability only. The bearer's unit must start the battle in reserve, but neither it nor any transport it is embarked within is counted toward any limit the mission places on number of strategic reserves you can have. And this unit can be set up using its deep strike ability in reinforcement step of your first, second, or third movement phase, regardless of any mission rules. Alright, so whatever this unit is, even if it's in a transport, you put it in reserve, and it doesn't count for the number of models and stuff you can put into reserve, and they can come in turn 1, 2, or 3.
that's really good for turn one.
Yep. Yeah.
That's a first turn strike, which is always a very good thing to have.
Oh yeah.
It'll really put your opponent on edge.
Yep.
That's a solid ability.
Yep. And then the next one they give us is
It kind of changed from the better charge. What's that?
So the next one they give us is Domina Liber Dominica. A Grey Knight's model. Each time the bearer makes a melee attack, add 1 to the wound roll, and if that attack targets a demon unit, add 1 to the damage characteristic of that attack as well. So this is only on the character, so it doesn't confer to his
That's a
unit.
pretty good one.
It's okay, but it doesn't confer to his unit, and a lot of the characters' attacks and stuff are down. Now that they're joining units, a lot of them have toned down a little bit. We'll see if they did the same with Grey Knights. So it's alright, but if it affected his unit, I'd like it a lot better.
It's a little situational.
Yep.
Because it's only one unit, one model.
Yep.
Having his one ability versus like being able to give it out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how many points it is because these all cost points now. If it's like 5 points, maybe, but if it's like 20 points, you probably don't. And then we get the Sigil of Exigence.
Yeah, the last edition.
Yep, this is a Grey Knight model only. Once per battle, in your opponent's shooting phase, when the bearer's unit is selected as the target of a ranged attack, you can remove the bearer's unit from the battlefield and then set it back up again anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches away from all enemy models. If the bearer is no longer an eligible target, the opponent can select new ones. Alright, so this is like the thing you kept putting on your Grandmaster Dread Knight, where someone would target you and you just warp away.
It's like the same sigil from last time.
Yep. So that's still really strong.
It's basically an auto take.
Yeah, yeah. There's so much.
Include, even if the points are high.
Yeah. Yeah, if they shoot you, you do your teleport assault. You have the other strat. You could move like 5 and 6 units, like deep striking around a turn if things go correctly with this army. That's wild. And then inescapable wrath.
Being able to move around that much is
Yeah, and then inescapable wrath is just +1 charge for the bear's unit. That's okay. So these bottom two, depending on the points, are just okay. These top two are
that's good.
really nice.
Yeah, both of those. I would say Sigil is an auto take first to the fray, depending on what you're trying to do with the army. Is really really good, and then the +1 charge, depending on how you're building the army as well, is really really just once you see the points, I would go from there.
Yep. Yeah, yeah.
But
All even with
Sigil's an auto take.
even with data sheets and everything, it all depends on points. If they have a bad data sheet but they're cheap, or they have a good data sheet but they're too expensive, it really changed whether or not something's worth taking. And they start us off with Caldor.
Yeah, it's really good to see the Sigil still in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they give us Caldor
Oliver, there you go.
first.
Let's do it.
T5, 7 wounds, 2 up save. He's got the Scourging. He's anti-demon 2 plus. Ignores cover psychic. It's a 18-inch range, 3 attacks, strength 6, neg 2, 2 damage. Then he just has a regular Stormbolter. And then he's got the Titan Sword, which is anti-demon 2 plus psychic. 6 attacks, strength 8, neg 4, 3 damage. So he's just going to be smacking demons. Then he's got
Yeah,
Untouchable.
he's got that Titan sword being AP4. That didn't go down at all. So most weapons went down in AP, and that thing's
Yep.
still like
I mean, he is Drago. But then they give us a couple rules for him. Untouchable Purity. While he's leading a unit, models in that unit have a 4 feel no pain against mortals. And then once per battle, when this model's unit declares a charge in the same turn it was set up as reinforcements using Deep Strike, add 3 to the charge roll. Dude, he can probably what he can join.
that's
He can join Paladins and Brotherhood
that's
Terminators.
that's all auto include.
Dude, if you take that,
Yeah, that's
put
that's
him
like an
in.
auto include right there. Not only gonna
Oh, yeah, yeah. That's
not
ridiculously
only are you
good.
gonna make your unit tougher, you're gonna be able to make it more reliably hitting that charge from deep strike. That is really really good.
Yeah, because normally you have a 9. Now it's a 6. A 6 is very makeable charge.
Yeah, that is a very good ability. So, and it's not teleport assault though, so it has to be from reserve from the deep strike
Yep,
ability. But
that's
even
nice
you could
though.
do that if you put another character in there with that one where you deep strike in turn one. Could you put two characters on a unit and hit turn one and charge?
Uh, there are certain characters. I don't know if the Grey Knights have any. They'll have a clause down at the bottom that says they can be attached even if another character already is. Uh, Generically, you can only attach one model. So we'll see if you have any like
Well,
lieutenant type models that are able to take that and join. Uh, but if they do, I was thinking
yeah,
if they do and you take that first turn drop, yeah, you could get a charge off turn one easily. But we'll see if they give them that
yeah,
option. Next they give
yeah. It
us.
looks like he's killing demons on that anti-demon 2+,
Oh yeah,
which is what he should be doing.
makes Scott cry. Oh, uh, next we got Grandmaster Voldist. He's a T5, 6 wounds, just a Stormbolter. But then he's got Malleus Argyrum, which is a psychic attack, 5 attacks, strength 10, neg 2, 3 damage. Solid profile. And then his special rules are
So
Sanctuary.
that's his close combat weapon.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Malleus Argyrum is yeah. And then his special abilities are Sanctuary. While he's leading unit, subtract 1 from the hit roll, so that it makes his unit -1 to hit. And then he has Hammer of Flame. Each time this model's unit is selected to fight, you can select one enemy unit within engagement range of models of this unit and roll 1d6. On a 2, if there's adding 2 if they're a demon. On a 4 to 5, they suffer d3 mortal wounds, and on a 6, they take d3 plus 3 mortal wounds. Just basically against most stuff, you got a 50-50 chance of doing some extra mortals. Against demons, unless you roll a 1, you're just doing some kind of mortals to them.
yeah. Being able to add either of those guys to a Terminator squad or Paladin squad, like
Yep.
it's going to be really good. Increases survivability.
Yep.
Drago just looks like almost an auto include with that +3 inch charge. So
Yep.
that's just amazing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Valdis looks okay, but yeah, Drago looks way stronger. Then they give us the generic
Yeah, so
Grandmaster.
Voldis looks like he dropped the Brotherhood though, so you can put Voldis on any unit. You don't got to worry about putting him in the right Brotherhood.
No, he could be yeah, Brother, Terminator, or Paladin. Then they give us the
Yeah,
Grandmaster.
yeah,
Yep, he's
Ooh, Grandmaster.
T5, 7 wounds, Incinerator, Silencer, Psycan, and Stormbolter, all the standard weapons, and then he's got the Nemesis Force weapon, which they kind of combined all those into just one weapon now. You don't have all the options. Just 6 strength 6, negative 2 damage.
Yeah.
All the standard Grey Knight weapons here, nothing really stands out there. Then his abilities are Might of Purity. While he's leading a unit, you could ignore any or all modifiers to the characteristics of the model of that unit and to any roll or test made for models in that unit, excluding modifiers or saving throws. So you can't change any of their characteristics, and they can't make them slower to charge. You can't affect their battle shock tests, anything like that. But there's only to the
Bunch of
characteristics.
battle in the army.
Yeah. Yes, you can't modify their characteristics, and they ignore modifiers to hit and wound rolls, as well as like battle shock, leadership, charges, anything like that.
It's a solid ability.
Yep. And then he's got the same thing that
Um,
like Marine Chapter
I kind of think
Masters
I could
get.
take the Grey.
He can do one stratagem for 0
Yeah,
CP once per battle, and even if it's been used, even if it's already been used that phase by another unit.
yeah. I mean, still good. I probably just run Drago to be honest with you,
Oh, absolutely.
but
The free CP thing is nice, but yeah,
it's got Drago and
that
probably
plus
a
3 to
Grandmaster in
charge
there.
is crazy.
That plus two charges and that AV4 sword.
Oh,
That's really good.
oh, absolutely. All right,
That's
and then
nice.
next up, if they're giving us your Grandmaster
Yeah.
in
Well,
Dread Knight, 8-inch move, T8, 13 wounds, 2 up save. He's got OC4, which is nice. He's got the Gatling Silencer, the Heavy Incinerator, and the Psy Cannon. Uh, Psy Cannon Strength 10, negative 3 damage.
looks like they dropped off AP.
Yep.
Yeah, they dropped off AP on the Gatling Silencer, so it's only going to be AP0 versus AP1. With the increase of the heavy incinerator is now 18-inch range, so it used to be 12-inch range. I think people are going to move more into the incinerator, especially since you're going to be able to reposition these guys a lot pretty well because they got the deep strike ability, so they can teleport assault. So having that 18-inch range, you know, torrent incinerator moving
Yep.
around, deep strike and shooting, and then you can overwatch
Yeah.
still really good.
Yep. No, I definitely agree. That's probably the better option. And we didn't see Cybolt ammo in the enhancements or the stratagem, so it looks like there's no Cybolt ammo anymore. So you're not pumping
Yeah,
up any of your
all
guns.
those abilities to pump the gun looks like they're gone, but they gave us a lot more maneuverability.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so and then he's got a couple of rules. Once per battle round in the fight phase, one model from your army with this ability can use it before resolving its attacks. If it does, until the end of the phase, each time that model makes an attack that targets a monster or vehicle, you can reroll the hit, you can reroll the wound, and you can reroll the damage. So he is just going to
Yeah, that
crush
makes me
monsters and
feel
vehicles
like
in
it's
combat.
better to go with the hammers now.
Yeah, yeah, with
Yeah,
the
because even
reroll,
though you're
definitely
hitting
go
on
with.
fours with the hammers,
Yep.
the problem with the swords is it went down to damage one, which is not AP1 damage one is not as it's not going to be that great anymore.
Well, it still has the
Especially
strike,
since a
so
lot of
you
armies
can
are
go
going to
to
have.
the Dread Fist, but the sword can do a strike for neg 2d6.
The sword could do the strike, but the big thing about the sword was the sweep in the last edition. You could sweep and still do damage too
Yep.
with lots of attacks.
Oh, I
But now
got you.
they gave us more attacks, but damage one, AP1 is, and they lowered the strength.
Yep.
It might be better just to go. We don't. Grey Knights seem to be lacking in the past. They've lacked some of those big strength weapons, and strength 14 on the hammer might be the way to go.
Yep, yeah. With vehicle and stuff going up, you can't reliably kill them with small stuff like you could before. So you definitely maybe tech your Dreadmaster or some of your other Dread Knights into being your big stuff killers. And then he gets
And it
heroism,
looks like he's getting deep strike and teleport assault.
and then he's got
So
a
he's
heroism.
he's being able to do the moving around on the
Yeah.
Dread Knight.
Then he's got a Heroism's Favor. Each time you target this model with a stratagem, it only costs 1 CP to use, even if the CP cost is higher. So that's nice. He can do stuff, some of those 2 CP stratagems for 1. Uh, and then,
Devastating wounds on a hammer sounds really good.
oh yeah. And then they give us Castellan Crow. He's just T4, 5 wounds. He's got Purifying
Ooh,
Flame,
perfect.
which is anti-infantry 2 plus, ignore cover and psychic. 3 attacks, strength 4, neg 1, 1 damage. Just a regular Stormbolter. And then Black Blade of Antwar, which is devastating wounds precision. 5 attacks, strength 6, neg 2, 2 damage. Uh, Seems alright. And then Champion of
Mm,
the Orders of Purifiers. While
that's
he's
all right.
leading a unit, add 1 to the attack characteristics of that unit's Purifying Flame. And then once per turn, the first time a saving throw is failed for this model, change the characteristic to 0. Alright, so he adds attacks to the unit's
It's all
Purifying
right.
Flame. Yeah. It's just basically going to be in a squad of
I
Purifiers.
he's never been super impressive to me, but because he's always been really cheap in points, I've taken him. I've actually taken him multiple times because he's a nice character, but that's pretty cheap. But we'll see what his points are like. But I mean, he's got some decent abilities. I don't. I'd rather take the other characters, but he still has some decent to play.
Well, and you're not limited on the amount of characters you can take now. So if he's cheap enough, you can take him. You can
Yeah,
take 8 characters if you want. If he's cheap enough, you throw him with the Purifiers, and we'll see when you get the Purifying Flame. If
he's
they
only leading.
on the Purifiers, but I'm saying he adds +1 attack to
He's
all.
only leading
But he
purifiers.
adds
Yeah,
+1 attack to their Purifying Flame. So if we have if the
he's
Purifying
only
Flame is
leading
shot,
purifiers though. So
yeah. But if every Purifier gets to do that shot, that's 5 extra Purifying. Well, counting his, that's 6 extra Purifying Flame shots coming out of that unit. If he's cheap enough, that's not bad. If he's too expensive, that's not worth it. But we'll see what his points are.
he might he's it might be worth taking it. It might be worth taking a small unit to kind of one off some infantry units.
Yep.
It just depends on the points because I feel like the purgation squads and the interceptors might be a little bit better than purifier squads. But we'll see. We'll keep looking at it and we'll see what we think.
Yep. Then they give us Brother Captain
It,
Stern. He's a T5 6 wounds.
here we go.
Just normal weapons. He's got Exemplar of the Silvered Host. While he's leading a unit, each time on that unit makes a melee attack on a critical wound, the target suffers 1 mortal wound in addition to any normal damage. So that's actually better than devastating wounds because it doesn't. You do the
Okay.
mortal, and then they still take any regular saves and damage you would do. And then he gets a Strands of Fate. The first time this model is destroyed on a D6, it comes back on a 2 up at the end of the phase with his full wounds remaining.
That's pretty good.
Yep.
I haven't been impressed by previous strands of fate, but being able to bring that guy back, that's like a that's like a Celestine thing. That's not bad.
No, that's really nice. And then he can
Once again,
join
they're
in
all leading this
Terminators.
Terminators
Yep.
and Paladins.
And then we just have a regular Brother Captain, standard weapons, T5,
Right.
6 wounds. Gives the units psychic weapon, sustained hits 1, and each time a model makes an attack with a psychic weapon, he reroll wound roll. So he rerolls wounds for himself on psychic attacks, and he gives his units psychic attacks, sustained hits 1. And he joins the same regular Terminator units.
It's not bad.
Yeah, that's alright. It's
That's not bad at all.
no.
It's all right. I mean, it's an extra character giving you an army buff, depending on
Yeah, but it's only on
how many Terminator
psychic.
squads you want to run. You might run.
Yeah. And yes, it's
Well,
most of your. Oh,
all the side weapons are psychic now. The psych cannon and silencer are now
gotcha.
psychic.
And all your combat weapons are psychic, so it'll affect your combat and your psych cannons and stuff.
Yeah,
Uh,
the only thing it won't really be affecting is the storm bolters and the incinerators.
all right, and then we got a Brotherhood
But it's not, I
Champion.
mean, it's not bad.
Yeah, Brotherhood Champion, 4 wounds, T4. While this model's leading a unit, models in that unit have fight first. And then each time he makes a melee attack, the target, and
Oh,
he gets reroll hits and wounds against characters. He could join Purgation and Strike Squad, so that's
so that
not
fight
as
first is
nice. If that was if one of the guys joining Terminators had this, that'd be amazing. it's only okay against strike squads. I think I don't know how hard strike squads are going to really hit. They still hit pretty good. I know they've always had a limited number of attacks but decent
I
damage.
don't. Yeah, I depending on how the strike squads turn out. One of my favorite things to do is run a 10-man strike squad moving around. So he might have some play there with the fight first. That
Yeah,
might be a pretty good unit to bring.
yeah. Then they give us
I actually think I might take him in the teleport strike, teleport solvability. You can move around the squad,
yeah,
have it in your face with fight first.
yeah. The only thing, yeah, with fight first,
You know, like ooh, the librarian.
you want to get charged though. You don't want to charge with fight first because it's really not as useful. Uh, then
So,
we then we get the Brotherhood Librarian.
well,
He's
if they charge you,
if they
yeah,
charge you, you fight first.
if you charge them
If you
and they
charge
don't have
them,
fight first, you will. I mean, you'll just.
well if you charge, you gain fight first. But if the combat's
But if they
ongoing,
charge you, they gain fight first off the charge.
right? But you still get to pick the
Oh,
first. You still get to pick the first activation. So if you both have fight first, whoever's
if
turn
they
it is,
charge you, do they.
you're say it's your turn and you charge someone and they have fight first. Now you both have fight first. Since it's your turn, they get to pick first. You don't get first pick when you on your charge now.
But if so, when they charge you, they gain fight first, right?
Correct. And then, but you would still fight first.
It's pretty. I might take it. Fight first is never a bad thing. So
No, it's definitely nice. Then we got the librarian. He's T5, 5 wounds. He's got a purge soul, which is a witch fire. It's psychic, and then if you pump it up, it becomes precision and hazardous. It's 24-inch range, one attack, hits on 3, strength 6, neg 2, 3 damage. So the profile stays the same. It gains precision and hazardous, so it just lets you target characters. And then
mm,
he gives 4
or
field.
I
Yeah,
mean, that's all right. I mean, it's. I mean, that's,
yeah. He gives a 4 field no pain against psychic attacks to his unit. And then he has Vortex of Doom. In your shooting phase, you can select one enemy unit with an 18 of invisible to the Psyker. Roll 1d6. On a 1, the Psyker's unit takes d6 mortal wounds. On a 2 to 5, the enemy unit suffers 2d3. And on a 6, the enemy unit suffers 2d6.
that's really good.
Yeah.
Uh,
As long as you don't roll that 1, doing
that's
d6 to
which
your
is
own
always
unit.
going to take power.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's I take that gamble. That's a really good guy to have. I might even run him alone and then deep strike him within like deep strike him in pretty close and try to hit him.
Yeah.
Like I might even run him alone, and then if somebody's trying to like protect a little unit in the back, I could deep strike him. He could almost take out the whole unit himself.
Yeah,
If
especially
it's just like a bunch
if
of
he
one wound
rolls that
models
if he
or
rolls that 6, he definitely has a good chance of doing it.
that's just being able to throw out. I would probably put him on the. I would put him on the board and throw out vortex every single turn, especially with our maneuverability. Being able to put out mortals every turn, like he seems to be the mortal wound battery so far from what we've read,
Yep. And then next up, we got the
and we
tech.
always need that.
Yeah, we got your Brotherhood Tech Marine, T4, 4 wounds, 2 up save. He's got the Amnesia Power Axe, the Plasma Cutter, the Silver Arms. Those are all look like they're exactly the same as the Marine ones. Uh, they're decent weapons. And then his special rules are Awaken the Machine Spirit. In your command phase, you can select one friendly Grey Knight vehicle model within 6 of this model until the start of your next command phase. That vehicle gets +1 to hit. And then in your command phase, you can select one friendly Grey Knight vehicle within 3 and heal D3. And then you can, well, he's within 3 of one or more Grey Knight vehicle units. He's lone operative and can't be targeted. Unless you're within 12.
Say all right.
Yeah, pretty much what Tech Marines did now. +1 hit, heal a vehicle, and then they can't be targeted unless you're really close to them while they're next to a vehicle.
Tech Marine too.
Yep, he could join servitors and strike squads.
Yeah.
Then they give us the Brotherhood Chaplain.
Well, that's not.
T5, 5 wounds. He's got the Crozier, strength 6, neg 1, 2 damage. Words of Power. While this model's leading a unit, add 1 to the wound roll. And then While enemy units are within 6 of this model, each time they take a battle check, they're -1. So that's nice. +1 to wound all the time
Whenever
is
units are within 6.
yeah. The battle check's okay, but it's you really got to be
Battle shock is
close.
nice too.
But it's only 6 inches. But yeah, if you get him in range, anytime you make extra battle
I'd
shock
one to
tests is
wound
nice.
was pretty good.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah,
it's you don't have to
that's
roll for it.
pretty good.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about all these litanies and stuff. The psychic powers just go off. It's weird that his litanies are basically a psychic now.
So this lets you go after some of the vehicles, higher toughness units, a lot better.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like I was looking back at that librarian. The librarian and the chaplain. Looks like they're both pretty good units to have. If you got to deal with those higher toughness units,
Hmm.
they can kind of deal with those for you without worrying about that toughness value
Yeah, you
as much.
definitely got to put a couple units in every army to deal with big stuff now, because little stuff just doesn't quite do it like it used to. All right, next up, they're giving us your Terminator squad. T5, 3 wounds, 2 up save. OC2, which is nice. Standard weapons. Uh, they have Hammer Hand. Each time a model in this unit makes a charge move, they gain 6 as auto wound, lethal hits. Then if you give them a banner, they get +1.
That's really good.
A banner gives them +1 objective control to the model, so then they're OC3. And if you have the Narthesum, you can return 1 destroyed model to the bearer's unit in your command phase.
That hammer hand being able to auto wound on 6 as a hit, that is really really good.
Yeah.
They're throwing out 4 attacks each, so you're looking at a squad of 5 is throwing out 20 attacks.
Yep.
I don't remember if there's any +1 to wound hit yet. Abilities, I don't remember them being one, but man, that's 20 attacks, auto wounding on 6s with 2 damage. That's a solid hammerhand. It's still a solid ability.
I believe there was some
With
character.
all the good Terminators characters.
I believe there's what character that gave +1 to hit, but I can't remember if he was one of the ones that joined Terminators or not. But the chaplain gives +1 to wound, so even if you don't get the lethal hit through, if he's in there, that just really ups your wounding.
+1 to wound, yeah.
Auto wounding, and then anything that doesn't, you have +1 on anyway.
Yeah.
They're going to convert a lot of stuff into wounds. All right, here's your strike squad. So let's see how good they are. T4, 2 wounds. OC2. Standard weapons.
And
They have a scout 6-inch. They can do a 6-inch scout move at the beginning of the game.
the Terminators are still battle line, so they're still the
Yes, you
standard troop choice.
Yep, so you could still take 6 of them. But your strike squad gamed scout. They have a 6-inch scout move.
If you control an objective,
They have sticky objectives too.
If you throw the objective marker at the end of the game,
Yeah, they sticky it.
oh wow!
Yeah, so they have a scout 6-inch move, and they can sticky objectives.
Scout 6 inches, and they have sticky.
Yeah, so if you sticky objective over in like a corner,
that's a lot different than they have been.
Yeah, you sticky objective over in the corner, and then just go back into your teleport strike, and now you're just holding it until your opponent sends something all the way over there to deal with it. Or you leave them, put them on your home objective turn 1, and then you just leave your home objective as long as the opponent can't get to it. You don't have to worry about leaving something behind. Yeah, sticky objectives are always great, especially for more elite armies that don't have as many throwaway units. That's a really cool ability.
They're down 1 attack off Terminators, though, so I wonder. I feel like it's going to be good to have at least 1 or 2 squads in here. But
Oh yeah.
I'm still more impressed with the Terminator. The Hammerhand ability is really good.
Yeah, well, the Terminators are more your damage dealers. These guys can just jump out. You can take at least one of them. You sticky an objective. They're more of a versatile unit, doing like, and then a lot of the secondary things require you to shoot or give up your shooting and charging to do the secondary thing. So you don't want to have to do that with the Terminators or your purgation squad. So these guys, even if you take them with no heavy weapons, you take a generic, cheap as you can squad. They stick in objective, do your little secondary things, because you don't have a lot of cheap units to do your little actions and stuff.
I wonder how cheap they're going to be with 2 plus armor.
Oh, that's right. They do have the 2 plus armor.
They
We'll
moved them
see.
up to 2 plus.
That's really nice.
So I wonder if they're going to be still be pretty cheap. They might be pretty expensive now,
Well, I mean, compared to the rest,
especially with the armor, the true silver armor.
yeah. Well, they're probably still gonna be the cheapest thing in your army.
Yeah,
Then we get the paladins.
they're probably still going to be cheap.
Paladins are only 3 wounds. They're not more wounds than the Terminators.
Yeah, they were like that in the last edition.
Were they? Oh, I remember when they used to be one more a long time ago.
Hmm?
See, I haven't played Grey Knight in so long.
No, they used to be one more 2 editions ago.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they used to be one more wound 2 editions ago, but they're still. It looks like they're still sticking with the 3 wounds on the paladins.
Yeah, they hit on twos with most of their stuff though, so that's nice. And then each time,
Yeah, there's the same number of attacks, the 4 attacks on Terminators and four
yeah,
attacks on Paladins. So they kind of lost the ability to get that more attack. That was the one thing in the last edition. They had more attacks than the
yeah.
Terminators. So that was a good selling point for them.
I guess they just hit better, and then they have if anything hits them that's higher than their toughness, it's -1 to wound. So anything strength 6 or higher that hits them is -1 to wound.
But let's see, they don't have the Narthicarium
Nope,
versus the Terminators have the Narthicarium. I feel like the Terminators are the way to go.
I think so. Well,
If
yeah,
for some reason they're only OPSEC 1, with the Terminators OPSEC 2?
yeah, because these aren't battle line. You can give them the banner to make them OBSEC 2, but Terminators can take the banner to be OBSEC 3. Yeah, and these guys are normally more expensive too. So if these guys are still more expensive than the Terminators, I don't see any reason you take these over the Terminators.
Yeah, I feel like you want to just run with the Terminators. They both have the same impulse save. The
Yep.
psychic ability on the Terminators seems better. I mean,
Yep.
these guys are going to be a little bit more survivable.
Well, maybe,
Maybe
but
if
then
you're
they
going to
can't
build
they
a
can't
brick
bring
and
anybody
have this
back.
survivable unit,
Yeah, they're a little more survivable, but then they
they
can't
can't bring
bring
anybody
models
back. That's
back.
good.
So it's like, well, that which one will be more survivable in the long run? Then we
I
got the
think I would probably just go ahead and take the Terminators.
yeah. All right, so then now we got your purifiers. T4 2 wounds, OC1, 2 up save, pretty standard profile for there. They all get one shot with their purifying flame, so it is per model because down here it says every model is equipped with purifying flame. So it's anti-infantry 2. It's only one shot a guy, but it's wounding infantry on 2s. And if you put who is it, Crow in there, they're going to be 2 attacks each.
Bro, yes, bro.
Yep. And then each time a model
It's not bad.
yeah, each time a modelless unit makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll if this unit is below starting strength, and add 1 to the wound roll if it's below half strength as well. So as they take damage, they get buffs to make them still be a little more efficient. That's an okay rule. I've seen that a lot of places. Don't think it's the greatest rule. It's okay. Um,
Yeah, I feel like it'd be better to just stick with the strike squads. You get better, sticky objectives and
yeah.
get
Uh,
kind of the same abilities, except for the shooting on the Witchfire. But
all right. So here's the servitors. Just generic servitors. Nothing special there. But if a tech marine joins the unit, they do gain deep strike and teleport assault. So they could do the advanced 6 and fly. They can deep strike in.
all
You
right,
can.
so I mean,
I mean, sometimes servitors are really cheap. If they're really cheap with
yeah,
a
you can
tech
deep strike
marine,
and hit some melted.
and you can warp them around. I mean, they're OC0 though, but so I don't know if you take them, but maybe this
Yeah,
maybe
it's a
maybe gives you a
you can
reason
do a
to.
cheap melted strike.
Yeah. All right. So
Mm. I'm not too sold on servitors.
no. All right. Then we got a Grey Knight
No,
Venerable
all right,
Dreadnought.
they're good enough.
T9, 8 wounds, 2 up save. All his weapons are the same as the Marine ones, so just your normal Dreadnought loadout. And then while a friendly granted infantry units within 6 of him, they can reroll a hit roll and a wound roll of 1.
Wow, that's solid ability. He
Yep.
doesn't have the deep strike, so you're not going to be able to reposition these with the teleport assault, which is sad.
Yeah, well, I figured most of the
But
vehicles wouldn't.
I mean, that's not. What's that?
Yeah, I figured most of the vehicles wouldn't, but you
Yeah,
take them.
just the. Well, I was hoping the psychic vehicles would, like, because the Dread Knight has it, but
Yeah.
I mean, he might be nice to sit back with a squad of purgation squads because they can already do they can do the ignore line of sight shooting,
Yep.
and he can give you some good rerolls. It's not bad.
Yep, and you need to take some
And
dedicated
two plus
anti.
armor is never a bad thing.
And you give him a las cannon or something that gives you some
Anti tank.
dedicated anti vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
okay.
strength 12 on the last cannon. I think other than the close combat hammer, that's the highest strength I've seen.
Yep,
I believe, right?
I believe so.
So it gives you some anti vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, then they're
Hitting
give.
on a 3, though. The Venerable used to hit on a 2, which is
Yeah. Does it have heavy or no? It doesn't even have heavy, right? Nope. It's just twin link. So you get to reroll the wound, but yeah, you got one shot, so a third of the time you're just missing. But I guess he gives that reroll ones to himself, so
yeah.
half of your misses you get to reroll.
No, he goes only while friendly Grey Knight infantry units are within 6. He's not infantry. He's
Oh, all right.
walker.
So a third of
So
your
he
time
wouldn't
he's just
reroll
missing.
himself. Yeah. I feel like you might want to keep him on the shelf,
Yep.
but I
And
mean, he
then
can give the rerolls to. So if you have a couple purgation squads in the back with side cannons, he can give them the rerolls, which is not
yep.
bad.
And then the next unit they give us is Inceptors with a 12-inch move, T4, 2 up save, 2 wounds. Then personal teleporters in your shooting phase. After this unit has shot, if it's not within engagement range of one or more enemy units, it can make a normal move up to 6 if it were your movement phase. If it does, until the end of the turn, it can't charge. That's nice. Uh, uh,
More movement.
yeah. So they don't have the greatest shooting, but you could jump
You know,
out,
they're
shoot
really
something,
good
run
against
away, or get to objectives, or move blow. Like there's
where
some.
they could run out and get line of sight on a tricky target for your purgation squad to light it up.
Oh, your purgation squad like shoot through them or something?
Yeah, your purgation squad sitting behind the wall in the back. If they, somebody they can't know it's hard to see somebody.
Oh, right,
These guys can. They have their sight.
your
They
astral
can run
aim.
out and
Right, your
yeah,
astral
with
aim
the
requires
astral aim
someone
from
else
the
to see him.
purgation squad that they previewed, they can get your line of sight pretty well, I think,
Yeah, that's a good combo.
because you're auto advancing 6, so you're moving 18. So you move 12, you advance for 16 or 18, and then you do the turn your guns in the assault,
Yeah,
and then you shoot. So effectively, you're moving 24.
that's not bad.
So if you can't get the line of sight off of deep striking a unit for some reason or another, these guys are and get you the line of sight.
Cool. So they're not amazing on their own. They're okay, but pairing them with Purgation Squad, that's some cool plays right there. Then that leads us to the
Yeah,
next thing.
I'd still
You still like them?
I'd still run maybe one or two squads. I mean, I know deep strike's a great thing, but a lot of armies will try to bubble you out so well
Yeah.
that having these fast moving units on the board is always helpful.
Cool. The next one they showed us is the Purgation
Especially
Squad.
since now with the way the new Grey Knights are working, everybody's gonna bubble.
Yep.
Everybody's gonna get on their bubble game.
That's where
Matt
I
knows about
that's
that.
where I learned my bubble game playing you. I play so many people that are annoyed how good I am at bubbling out, protecting my lines because
We talk about the Purgation Squad.
yep, the Purgation Squad is T4 2 wounds, pretty standard stat line. The standard guns, they just get to take more of them, and then Astral Aim is what makes them good. Their ranged weapons have indirect fire, provided the target of that weapon is visible to one or more other friendly Grey Knight Psyker
Yeah.
units.
You
So
break
that.
it up a little bit, Matt.
Oh, sorry. But
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear
Yeah.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right.
Yeah, they previewed this unit.
Yep.
Still solid ability. I would run the sight cannons behind the building and a squad of the incinerators.
Yep.
I'm not sure about the silencer. I feel like with that AP0, you can achieve a lot of that with your other weapons.
Yeah. Sustain hit one's okay, but it's really just giving you most of the time one extra hit per guy. Uh, but yeah, the AP0
Yeah.
people are just going to make those saves anyway. I mean, even the Psycan is only the egg one if people are in
I mean,
cover. And that's another problem with your indirect, is if you shoot indirect, it gives people cover, so you're basically AP0 at that point. Even though your strength
that's
8-2
why you got to
damage.
run the incinerators. If you run the incinerators, then it's ignore cover and an auto hit.
Yeah. But 12-inch range, the ignore line
which
of
is why I'm
sight
thinking at least
isn't
one
as good.
squad.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a cool ability, but you're just relying on people to fail saves. But you're shooting out of protection, so if they don't fail saves, it's not like they're really shooting you back. Uh,
It's true too.
and then
Still a solid unit. I know bolter discipline gone, but still going to be a lot of store bolter shots
oh yeah,
coming down the field as well.
yeah, and then
Any low toughness army is going to take a hit by that.
yeah, well, they're strength 8. They're wounding most stuff on twos. Even Marines, they're wounding on twos with the psi cannon. So you just got to hope they fail those saves. And then we got the Nemesis Dread
Yep.
Knight. He's T8 13 wounds, just like the guy. He's got the same loadout, but he doesn't hit quite as well as the Grandmaster. He's eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn which he advanced or fell back. That's nice. So advancing and falling back doesn't
That
affect
is
what they get.
amazing.
Yeah,
That is that is amazing. That means he is moving 8 inches and you advance 6 inches, so you're going 14 inches and you're shooting and you're still shooting
yeah, and you're
and
still
charging.
charging. Yep,
So you're moving 14 inches, shooting and charging
yep.
with fly. So if there's a vehicle, if there's a flyer over on the side, you're moving at 14 inches. You're still shooting and you're still charging.
Well, I don't know.
That's really good.
I don't know if you have fly in the
You
charge
have to turn
phase.
your guns into assault though, right? What's that?
No, you don't have to turn him into assault because he can shoot when he charges, when he advances or falls back. His rule gives him that, so you don't have to turn these
Oh,
into
it's
assault.
over the shoot rate advance.
Yeah, he can do both.
That's amazing. So that's basically moving 14 inches and then and shooting and charging, and you have fly, so you can shoot, charge, and charge a flyer. That's 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 a that is,
Yeah.
every turn moving 14 inches, shooting and charging is really really good.
Yep. Then we get the Grey Knight Land Raider. Has exactly the same as a regular Land Raider, as far as I can see. Just gets to be taken by Grey Knights. I don't see anything different from a regular Land Raider there. But the assault ramp is amazing because your Terminators are really good.
Yep, it's true.
And then we get the Crusader and Redeemer. Redeemer, I think, is going to be really good with that Flamestorm cannon, the way Overwatch and stuff works now. Uh, I wish I had a Redeemer. I got a Crusader. I haven't used the Redeemer. Used to be really good. I used to have one, but I think that thing's going to be really good.
Yeah, they have the Forge one too.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it does though.
All right. And it looks like
It's
all
one
the
of the few Forge models out here.
yeah, and it looks like all the rest of this is just like Rhinos and Storm Ravens, so all the just generic Marine stuff, and they're just giving it the Grey Knight keyword and saying it can carry Grey Knight stuff. So there's
Yeah, none of it gains teleport assault.
yeah,
None of it has deep strike, so
yeah. So
you're gonna
just
be looking at playing regularly with this stuff.
yeah, it all just clarifies what Grey Knight models can get. It is all really these data sheets do compared to the Marine one. Uh but Dread Knights, I really like that. That
Yeah.
advance and shoot. That's so. I think they look really strong. What do you think?
That's probably I think four Dreadknights, at least four Dreadknights is the way to go because you got three Dreadknights, you get to move, advance, shoot, and charge them, and you're
Hmm.
auto advancing. So it basically moves their movement to 14 inches. That's now if you advance, is it -1 that they
No,
just
advance is
advance
not
shoot,
minus
so
one
they'll
anymore.
move, they'll
Yep,
shoot regularly.
yep.
To get into a hard combat, they could do was it or fall back?
They can do
Like
both.
they still got a 4+ symbol save, and 4+ symbol save is very
Yeah.
very swingy.
Well, they're in a hard combat.
That's
If they're in a hard
so
combat,
for my take,
yeah,
they can do both.
yeah, they can do both.
Advance and fall. They can fall back and advance.
Yeah. So
So
yeah,
you
so
can you can fly basically. Like there's no wrapping them.
no, they
You
can't.
can fly
They
out, fall
th-
back, and fly out of that
no,
combat.
they can't advance when they fall back. They're just able to shoot and
Oh, okay,
charge
okay.
whether they advance or fall back.
But being able to shoot, advance, and charge with them every single turn, and they pick up fly when they advance, so they can even charge a flyer.
Well, no, they can't charge a flyer because
That's amazingly
they
good.
only have fly in the movement phase. They won't have fly in the assault phase, in the charge phase.
No, because the ability. No, they'll have the fly because it says if you advance, you gain fly off of the army ability.
Oh,
I believe.
does it say for how long? Here, let me go back up here.
Yeah, let me go back up to Mike. It's not wanting to load. So maybe teleport shot. Here it is. It says
Until
each
the end
time
of
a
the
Dreadnought
phase.
unit with the deep strike ability, yeah, makes an advance roll instead, and it said until the end of the phase, add 6 inches to that movement characteristic, and the unit can fly. So
So end
you're
of
charging
no no
flyers with dread
no
knights.
no end of phase, not end of turn. So at the end of
Oh,
the
it's an
movement
end of
phase, it
phase.
goes away.
Okay, okay. Not end of turn.
Yeah, end of
You're
phase.
right. But still, moving 14 inches, shooting and charging is really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
And we're going to see a lot of flyers in hover now, which makes them chargeable and interactable again, like they used to be. So it's only if they keep them up as aircraft, where they have the minimum 20-inch move, are they unchargeable. If they put them in hover, so they can start them on the table and be more flexible with them. But but that's pretty much it for Grey Knights. I think they're really
Uh,
cool.
they're really, really good, and they have a lot of really good abilities. And picking up that 2+ armor on all the infantry is
Yeah.
you're sitting now with a 2+ armor army basically. You're sitting unless you're taking some of the vehicles, you're gonna be sitting down with Terminators, strike squads, interceptors, purgation squads, and characters, and you're pretty much your entire army is gonna be 2+ armor,
Yep.
and you're gonna be sitting down moving around the board with 2+ armor army units that are shooting a lot and fighting a lot. I mean, it's
Yeah. With
that's
two.
going to be a hard army to crack.
Yep. All right. Well, Grey Knights look like they're going to be real strong. I want to thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you next time.